bringing you your favorite new MCs. It's Dormville.
Hype, existential thinking guy, the retro I will and light. I go with way deeper thoughts like, wait, no, this is really good.
All right, what's going on? It's Dormville. I'm Mike Hood with my co-host
Backstage Phantom,
and we're sitting down today with Max.
Yeah, what's going on?
All right, not much, man. I'm just chilling. So, just kick this off. Will you have a new tape that's out? 2000s on everything?
Yeah, 2000 on everything.
Yeah, just how did that even start? Because it's a pretty amazing concept. I don't know if like you want to explain it or like I can try, but I feel like I won't do it justice.
Huh. Well, let me put you to the test there, Mike. Let's see you try it. What's going on here?
All right, so from my understanding, it's a guy who was in 2000s who gets blasted into 2018, and the whole thing is just about him kind of adjusting to 2018 culture. And I feel like with that concept, it's a commentary on like our culture now and like how I guess how not silly, how like kind of stupid it can be sometimes, like with the record store story.
I mean, there's part of that. I mean, largely the whole tape. I mean, like, yeah, it's driven by a story, and I'm probably gonna, because I have a tape on the way that I'm like maybe 75% done with, and that's gonna be more. That's gonna not story driven, I guess. So like essentially, it's a celebration of the turn of the millennium, and it was essentially the height of music marketing. Period. And so, and it takes the concept of how music marketing was just so like 100%, 110%, like just driven into your house before everybody had a computer. You know, like at that time, less than 50% of homes had internet, right? So you got to think they were able to just the labels could just create their own wave for anyone if they had enough money. And if they had like the right face, the right timing, the right everything. And so sort of what my tape does in the story and the concept is that it takes that like a step further, and it's like they're literally pushing religion. They're creating religion, and they're creating a culture just around these like just people who were kids at the time. And so it's you know, and there's some tracks that get more on that. There's like a skit that gets more on that. It's very skit heavy tape. But let's see. I mean, I don't know. So it sort of plays with that concept, and you know, I would go back again. Like years of research went into this project, and the thing that I would see is I would like look at clips of TRL. I'd look at clips of like Today's Show, and like, you know, fans, you know, lined all the way up. And I would see like, you know, I'd see like a 15-year-old girl meeting like AJ from the Backstreet Boys or whatever, and she's shaking. She's like in shock. She says that my life has been changed by this person, and all this guy did was sing some songs. And you know, it's sort of like I'm thinking like 1,000 years from now, like what if it got driven to the point where someone took it far enough and was like, hey, these guys were mythical. These guys were like, you know, on some other shit. You know, it's been about, what, 20 years now. We don't really look at that now, but it's like, think about how you know, when Jesus was crucified, 20 years after Jesus was crucified, nobody really gave a shit about Jesus. You know, so it's like, that's what I like to play with. I like to play with that concept. It's, you know, I guess some people would call that like sacrilegious or atheistic, but you know, like the word atheist. Whenever you think of an atheist, you think of like this fucking fat loser with like glasses, right, or something. You know,
glasses, fedora, neckbeard, all
yeah,
that.
Yeah, but it's like I'm taking atheism to the next level, where it's like, okay, yeah, fuck God, God doesn't exist, but let's make the new fucking God. Let's create the new fucking God. Let's see who we can fuck with in 1,000 years. And so I picked Christina Aguilera. So there you go. So yeah, no, Jesus Christina Aguilera on some real shit.
Yo, what made you decide like, okay, 2000s, that's what I want to pick, rather than like, okay, early 2010s had some hitters, or like 1990 was there was some pretty good music there. Like, what was like early 2000s, this is it, this is what I need to do, like this is the project, nothing else?
Well, for one, you know, when I was coming up, you know, I wasn't like the phrase 90s kid got thrown around so much, you know, gotten thrown so much around this decade. And I was like, dude, I don't fucking remember the 90s. Like, and it's like, honestly, like, were the 90s really that great? I think Vince Staples got in trouble because he said in an interview in like maybe like 2 years ago, he's like, everybody needs to chill the fuck out about the 90s. Like, they weren't that good. You know, he's like, there was riots and like, you know, police weren't held accountable for doing fuck shit, you know, all this stuff. And it's like, were the 90s really that fantastic? And so, you know, obviously it's nostalgia. You know, you got a bunch of guys, you know, people who are, how old? Let's like people who are like, you know, 28, 29 right now. They're sort of the young people who are hired, you know, to be in journalistic positions, whether it be BuzzFeed or whatever, or they're the people, you know, they're the media personalities. And so right now, you know, the 90s are the dominating like thing to be nostalgic about. I'm just getting on the 2000s wave before it really blows. Pretty much. Like, I remember the early 2000s. I can write a bunch of shit about it, and I don't have to like go research something. Like I just remember seeing shit. And so, yeah, you know, that's cool. Like the closest thing I've seen, to something like this tape was Amine. Is that how you say his name? Oh yeah, he gets mad if you say he's anime. Amine, the guy who made the, yeah. And then he made the song Spice Girl, and that's like the closest thing in concept to what I'm doing here, and what I'm gonna do with the next tape as well, where it's pretty much celebrating that turn of the millennium. It's a celebration of hyper commercialism, because it was also before the internet, or you know, before lots of people had the internet, and it was before, you know, the cynicism could you know, rear its head in, because it's you know, nowadays, like let's say Drake is considered the greatest thing of all time by mainstream media or whatever. Let's say everyone's saying Drake is great right now. Drake is great right now. But now that we have Twitter and, you know, the other stuff, now there's tons of naysayers like, oh, Drake's bitch shit. Drake is girl rap. Drake. So like that voice is much louder than it used to be. So someone like Drake can't just seem perfect to everyone in the media anymore, because now people on the internet have that voice. So it was sort of this like this era of no resistance. It was throw a shit ton of money into some kid and you have no resistance whatsoever. And so like stuff like that's pretty cool. You know, but it's like that's the era I'm celebrating. And you know, give it 10 years, you know, you're going to have some kid celebrating, you know, 2010s culture. Because that's what I figured out is the retro rule is 20 years. You know, so if it happened 20 years ago, people are going to fuck with it. People are going to think it's this, you know, it's this cultural phenomenon.
What was your target demographic like while making the tape? Was it like, oh, I want to make this for myself? Or was it more of a, oh, you know, I want to make this for like people like myself that remember the early 2000s, rather than people like, oh yeah, the 90s were the shit, even though they obviously don't remember a majority of that?
I don't know, man. I don't like. Goddamn, it's who I make it for. I don't know. I just made it to get some content out there. Honestly, like I just wanted to make some music that wasn't, you know, that people could just enjoy. And it's like, what am I gonna make music about? And it's like, okay, well, I know about this. And I've sort of been known as like the guy to sort of be on that wave for years and years before, like on YouTube, where I'd be like, you know, we make a joke about, you know, Robots the movie or some other shit from like, you know, 2005 or 2003 or whatever the hell. And so I was like, I'm going to make a whole tape about it. And, you know, because I've literally, tons of people always go on about this shit of like, oh, hip hop's never seen this before. There's a lot of shit that I've literally never seen said in hip hop before, whether it be bloggers or musicians. There's tons of shit that I, you know, well, first off, no one can say like, oh, there's another hip hop album that like tries to convince people that a pop star is the second coming of Jesus Christ. No other rapper can say that, you know. But one other rapper, you know, and I was criticizing not only, you know, I guess the concepts of Jesus or whatever the hell, but man, that was sacrilegious. But no one's questioning just like the state of affairs in hip hop right now. And, you know, I feel like with white hip hop fans, there's like zero self-awareness whatsoever. And so that's how shit like, and, you know, I'll make fun of how like, for some reason, I would say like 75% of every white hip hop fan I meet, they're like, MF Doom is the best, bro. And I'm like, he's okay. He's not fucking Jay-Z. He's not, you know, he's not Kodak Black. He's not any of the, you know, the guys who are like really fucking popping. Right. You know, and so, and also, this really never gets spoken on. This is the very first hip hop album ever, or not album, mixtape, whatever the hell. This is the very first thing ever that makes fun of the RoboFlow shit. You know, like you know, tactical backpack,
like the
practical
rap god shit?
Yeah, tactical backpack, practical, slapping sabbatical, rapid abatable, you know, all that. And it's like the old heads will be like, or not old, or like Eminem fan, not necessarily old heads. I don't want to lump, you know, all
stands.
Say it again.
The stands.
Well, now Stan is just like they use that for everything now. You know, like, so Britney Spears stan, a Beyonce stan, you know, like everybody. But I mean, I get what you're saying, like Eminem people. And it's like, it's really stupid because these guys will be like, oh, I'm so fucking lyrical. Oh, you know, all this shit, yo, all these trap rappers, they suck. And I'm like, hold up. You just rhymed a bunch of shit, but it didn't say anything. And you're acting like you're hard. Like, you know, like, if I'm sitting down and if I absolutely need a lyric sheet to understand what you're saying, are you really that lyrical? Like, are you really this grand MC? And it's like, yeah, it's cool. Like, you know, every now and then, like, you know, me or a friend will like do it, or we'll see like, oh, you know, and it's like, it's a cool little gimmick. But at some point, we got thrown on this track of, oh, this is lyricism. That's like, you know, like, but no, other rappers have said that before, but like, I haven't really seen it made as like a grand point, you know.
So like a grand point, as in like whenever Hobson did those like those mumble rap skits on his albums, and like that was him calling out every mumble rapper at that point, and like everyone now jumping on the train of just like dissing all mumble rappers if they consider themselves to be lyrical and or old heads.
Yeah, I mean, no, I despise the phrase mumble rapper. I think that's like one of the most what's the word for it? I talked to MC Juice and I told him mumble rapper feels like it's just used as the N-word now. It feels like it's specifically used to demonize young Southern black men trying to make music. When it's like, if you listen to their shit, like they're saying that, like people call NBA Youngboy a mumble rapper. This guy talks about some like fucking heavy emotional shit on his records. And you know, this guy talks about like, I'm 16, I have 2 sons, I can't waste my, you know, I gotta make fucking money, like the world fucking hates, you know, all this shit. Like, you know, like that's, you know, I don't know. Like that's, to me, that shit like that is like a deeper dialogue than like Logic complaining about how he's biracial. You know, like, you know, that's just me. But again, it's like, it's the perception where it shows you as white hip hop fans sort of infiltrated, or as old people, you know, as the people who started hip hop started becoming old, it showed you like, hip-hop started getting its own little form of discrimination, its own little form of bigotry within its own culture. So that's, I don't know, that's kind of interesting to me. That's a sociological study or whatever the fuck, you know, people say. But no, stuff like that's interesting. I don't know.
And like with old heads, it's like I feel like they're just really closed-minded when it comes to the new music or whatever. It's like they hear the auto-tune, they hear like the good beat or whatever, and automatically, oh, shut the shit off. It's just
they hear the good beat.
Mumble rap.
They hear the good beat. Yeah, all that old shit had bad beat. No, I mean they're not always going to be. Or here's the issue: is that like, I mean, they'll hear a song and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I mean, look, there's a scientific study that says, and I can't remember where it was, but if you look hard enough on Google, you'll find it, where it says once you're past the age of 35, you're immediately less responsive positively to new music.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's, you know, I guess we should have seen this coming, or I don't know when that study came out, but you know, let's say if that study came out in 1990, you know, we should have seen this coming. And it's like, The new rappers now, like, you know, while they're not, you know, while they don't know, or I'm sure some of them know how to get like super hyper rhymey and all this shit. They're just having fun, and they're putting stuff into the culture that was like completely unheard of 15 years ago. Like think about you know this guy well, he's not like a southern guy, but you know the guy Chris Wu, the boy band guy who's trying to be the K-pop boy band guy who's trying to be a rapper now. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, he made this song called November Rain. And November Rain is considered a hip hop song. Go listen to November Rain when you get a chance. And it's like I'm listening to this song. I'm listening to the melodic, you know, just the singing, the belting, the everything, the instrumental, and it's like, dude, there's no way anyone would have considered this a hip hop song 15 years ago. Think about you know the guy Kyle.
Yeah.
Super duper Kyle. There is stuff on his very first tape before he got really big. Before I think I Spy was his that was the song that made him huge.
Yeah.
In I Spy, there was shit. Let's see. No, sorry, not I Spy. In his first album, there was a song called it was called like Fun. Or I think it was just called Fun. Yeah, the song was called Fun or Fun or something like that. And it's, you know, standard little Kyle song, and then at the end it just goes into this thing where it's piano and he's singing over the piano, and he's doing some kind of like, you know, very surfer type dude expected things where it's like, cause I won't, like he's doing one of those while he's singing, and I'm like, fucking 20 years ago, like no one was allowed to do that if they called themselves a rapper. No one was allowed to do that. You know, and it's crazy how, but like that's what's cool is like so much shit is allowed now that wasn't allowed, and so, you know, for better or worse, we get more experimentation now, and you know, we'll see what was a fad and we'll see what sticks. The melodic stuff, that's gonna stick, that's gonna stay forever because hip hop is so profitable when it's melodic. Because, you know, there's the whole melody wave where now every rapper's got to be like a part-time singer. I think that's gonna stick forever. But yeah.
Yo, on Everyday Struggle, I think it was like I think it was 2 weeks ago. They were talking about how like like everyone's rearranging categories. So like rap has now become the popular music. So now there's rap pop, then there's like that singing shit, then there's like all these different pockets. Like rap and rock have now come together to some extent, and it's like because all of these things have started happening, you're supposed to break them up into different categories. Like, how do you feel about separating the people that are like X and like have that rap rock type feel, and like people that are like singing and have the melodic, and then the people that are rapping? Like, would you separate them out whenever you give out awards, or how would you divvy that up?
Well, here's the answer. Rap rock was actually, that was more related to the era, the 2000, the turn of millennium era, because back then it was Limp Bizkit. But it was considered corny because it was white people trying to push rock into rap. You know, but like when XXX Tentacion does it, it was like cool. It was considered like a wave because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like a bunch of corny white guys. It was this kid who, like, you know, he was influenced, you know, he listened to rap. Like, rap wasn't a gimmick to him. That was all he listened to. But he also listened to oh God, what was it, like heavy metal and, you know, stuff like that, or screamo or what, I don't know. The guy listened to a lot of, you know, crazy shit. But all that went into creating his thing. Now, whether we should separate it, I don't know. I mean, XXXTentacion, I mean, that's pretty much hip hop. Like, when I hear that, it's like, oh yeah, that's trap, that's hip hop. Like, I mean, I hear the metal sort of influence in his stuff, but that's still pretty much hip hop. You know, I mean, like, what other separation would there need to be?
I mean, there's that. Then there you have, I guess you could separate like the poppier sounding people, like not the mumble raps, but like all the people that use the auto tune, like those type of people. Like, you would separate them, like how rock is separated into like heavy metal, then there's ska, and then there's psychedelic rock, and like all of rock is broken down into subgenres and subsections. Would you see rap turn into that, or just keep it as, no, this is all rap? Rap needs to stay in one pocket.
I mean, rap sort of had its own little, you know, divisions or whatever. Yeah, I mean, they haven't been like hard divisions. Like relative to mainstream media, it's always just been one genre. But that's because mainstream media is ran by white people, right? So it's like, you know, all that stuff sounds the same to them. They can't decipher it. People within the culture, they can decipher it, but people outside of that, yeah, it's a little trickier. Time's just gonna tell. Hip hop is the #1 genre of music, as far as marketability, as far as money, as far as all that stuff goes. Right now in America, as far as I know, it's the most profitable stuff. And which is actually funny because getting back to that era, when it was all those rap and R&B, and there's actually an interview. There's an interview about with Britney Spears when she's like 16 or 17 talking about this, where in the 90s, R&B and hip hop was transitioning to be the #1 genre of music, and by like the mid 90s, I think it was. And then what ended up happening, and all the star people, it was all, you know, it was all people from the black community. It was whether it's like Mariah Carey, whether it was Biggie Smalls, whether it was Tupac, whether it was whatever. And then late 90s, the record labels figured out how to whiten it up again, and they came up with the boy bands. They came up with the pop princesses. They came up with that shit. So I don't know. It's but getting back to, well, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. The dichotomy is weird. How the labels try to control shit like that is weird. I don't think you can. I don't know if you can separate. I don't know if you can separate up hip hop at this point, because it's like we're still. From what I see, hip hop is still in that phase where it's still like the what's the word for it? Like not the normal music. Like it still feels like the new thing to a lot of people. You know, as far as like the majority of America is concerned, you know, all 300 or 400 million people who live here, like, you know, so it's weird. Let's see. I don't know. What else is new?
So with 2000s on everything, there wasn't like too much of a 2018 like trap music feel to it. Like there wasn't like too many hitting, the beats didn't have any too many hitting 808s or stuff like that.
Yeah,
was that like a conscious decision or?
No, I wanted it to sound like the beats heavy hit. I was trying to make that happen, but I just didn't know how to mix. Pretty much. Also, it's a result of the producers you're with and stuff like that. Because like the two producers, it was IMG Jr. That's what he goes by, and Rodaus. Those are the two. And these guys, like, they're not the majority of what they learned. Like they just understand like how to make a Jay Dilla beat way better than they know how to make like a Metro Boomin beat. And so those, I mean, those now granted, I produced, like, I made the beats for like 80% of the tape. But what's it called? It's just, I don't know. On the next tape I have coming out, there's a little bit more of you know, there's a little bit more of that heavy bass, that heavy hit, you know, sort of thing going on. But it wasn't a conscious decision. It was just I don't fucking know how to do it.
All right. With your next tape, is it still like a secret, or is there like anything that you can tell us about it so far?
What I'll tell you is for the longest, this is what pissed me off the most as being like a guy who was trying to put the 2000s on, is that every fucking time some idiot would be like, oh dude, all these 90s references in your videos, or all these 90s references in your music. And I'm like, it's not the fucking 90s, dude. Like, look, like I made a video where it was a bunch of, literally, it was all things manufactured in the 2000s, and people would be like, oh, you just put 90s shit in what you do. And I'm like, no. So the title of this next project is literally called It's Not the 90s. Because I'm tired of the 90s. It's not like cool anymore. Like if you reference the 90s now, like maybe like a radio DJ will be like, yeah, I'm old, that's cool. But like, I don't remember the 90s. Like, I was born in 1994. I don't remember a fucking thing about the 90s because I was picking my nose. I was an idiot back then. What do I know about that? You know, so it's like how old were you in the 90s? Like 1?
I was like 0. You know,
I was like 1 year old.
Yeah, so it's like, why is there so much 90s romanticism if nobody was fucking alive for it? You know, other than, I mean, I get why, you know, somebody 30, again, I get why somebody 30's into it, but this is the new wave. You know, we got to take over here.
Do you think it's not like the fact that I think it's that they don't understand, like, you were born in the 90s, but you experienced the 2000s, but in their mind, they're like, well, I was born in the 90s, so it has to be 90s shit. And they're not like, I don't want to say they're not smart enough, but like, they just don't realize, oh, hey, yeah, this was 2000s that I was experiencing, not the 90s.
That's possible. You know, because it's but again, the desire to be a 90s kid, that started like 19, or sorry, not 19, fuck, what am I saying? That started probably like 2008, the desire to be like a 90s kid. And so I would see kids on the internet who were born in like 1995, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a 90s kid. Oh yeah, I remember I remember 2 years of the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. And it was like this club. It's like people wanted to be a part of this because back then, you know, people who were running YouTube or whatever, they were in that time. So what they say is cool. Now all the young kids who didn't really experience it, they want to act like they did. And everybody wants to hop on the wave. And you know, I'm sure we're going to get kids who were born in like 2004 going like, oh yeah, 2000s on everything, man. You know, and it's like, just, but it's that's just how it is. Oh, sorry, I blew my nose.
Bro, you're good. Other than music, what have you been working on? Like, we know you have your radio show, Sobro Radio. Like, what all's going on over there?
I haven't done shit in a while with that. Well, no, what am I doing? Well, no, that's just been on a hiatus because there were like 3 people I really wanted to interview, and I keep emailing back and forth with them, and they're just not replying, or they're too busy, or whatever the hell. So I'm like, you know, screw that, whatever. Like when an opportunity shows, then I'll do it. But it's like that's sort of the beauty of, you know, I guess not getting paid substantially to do it is you can sort of set your own schedule, and you can only drop when it's like truly special, when it's not just a filler. You know, and also the guy who usually takes calls, he like vanished off the face of the earth. I have no idea where the hell he is. Yeah, so I mean, I'll figure it out. As far as, I mean, right now I'm getting paid to do sound effects on a video game, so nice. Yeah, I gotta, you know. And that's the stuff that actually pays. You know, people try to like, cause I have like a YouTube channel, and I've been making videos for years, but people try to act like that's what I make my money doing. And they're like, oh dude, you're a broke ass YouTuber. I'm like, dude, I made $7 grand last week. Like, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my face. You know, that's another great thing about hip hop. Hip hop is like the only genre or culture or whatever where you can just say that and people are like, yeah, dude, you're a good guy. If you try to say that with like people who listen to like video game music, they're like, hey, you can't do that. Hey, that's rude. I'm like, fuck you. Like, you know, it's bullshit. But yeah, like, I don't know. I like making fun of that. Again, in the skits, you know, I make fun of that type of shit all the time.
Bro, speaking about Twitter, I know like what was it, last week, whenever you were doing like the Ed and Eddie and the Mandark raps?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, would you ever do that like as like just like a small project? Like, oh, here's a couple of videos of like just Cartoon Network characters rapping, because I know a couple of rappers do that, like, but they use them as storytelling devices. But you're actually like doing the voices and like doing something with it. I see.
Well, what's it called? Let's see. Well, I don't know if you saw all the tweets in that like reply chain thing. But that was me and what's it called? That was me going back and forth with if I relative to the tape. So there was a guy in there. There was a guy in the skits, And he did the who the fuck is Ja Rule line, and like, you know, he was general disrespect for everything. His brother is on the other end of those rap battles, and on the cartoon rap battles. And me, him, and his brother, we've just been doing nothing but Cartoon Network rap battles and diss tracks for like the last 2 or 3 months now. And so it's just good shit. Now, if I might make like a skit and put it in the next tape. I might do something like that, sure. But it's what's it called? But yeah, no, it's funny. Lots of dumb shit. One thing I learned is that rapping as Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy is like the hardest shit you can do, like vocally. Like that hurts. It hurts after you do it. And yeah, don't try it. You know, but no, and his brother has his brother made a bunch of shit. His brother came up with 100 Acre Woods Gang, with all the Winnie the Pooh characters. And he has this. We keep asking him for the file because we want to play it for people, but he keeps like not sending it, or he's like, oh, I gotta mix it, and then he never mixes it and plays Madden for like 2 hours. And he has this line in it where he comes in as Eeyore, and he's like Eeyore 3 4s. I'm so sad, I need more. And it's just like shit. Like the concept of Eeyore having a lean addiction is so fucking good, and it's like, oh, that shit's good. No, but yeah, cartoon rap battles of history. It's really weird. The J. Cole thing. When did he start like getting mad with everyone? Because like I remember what was it? What was that tape he had? Friday Night Lights. You remember that? Were you guys like 2 when that came out?
Yo, I went back and listened to it, bro. It's fine.
Oh yeah, Friday Night Lights. What's it called? That's probably like one of the greatest mixtapes I've ever heard. That's like that's like the only J. Cole thing I can like sit and listen to, because I'm like, oh yeah, holy shit, yeah, this is cool. And it just got to a point where like after a few albums, I don't know, he just got on the kick of like fuck all the other shit. And that's weird because he's or how old is he? Is he like 30?
Yeah, I think he's about to turn 30.
Or no, he's like 33. I think he was born in 1985. Something like that. I think about that a lot. I think about age and how it has to do with like the shit that you're into and all that. It's same with the shit. Like again, you tell a guy in hip hop, what's it called? You tell a guy in hip hop who was born in like 1975, oh, there's a guy who made an album where Christina Aguilera is Jesus Christ. He's like, what? You're fucking joking, right? What is it, like some haha? Like, is this some bullshit? They're like, no, the guy's like, actually, like, it's not Weird Al Yankovic doing it. It's like real. And but you tell a guy born in like 1995 that, and they're like, oh fuck, like they're not in disbelief. They're like, oh yeah, that I guess it's the new wave now. like they're just, people will just go with fucking anything anymore, and that's probably you know, some of that's bad, but you know, another part of that's good, I guess.
It allows for a lot more experimentation.
Yeah, like, you know, Baby J.
Yeah, the Made It Out of the Rain guy.
Yeah, Out the Rain. He was like, oh my way. You know, and it's
like,
yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
I was really thinking like, what?
And like he does that shit. And also Baby J started using autotune. Fuck that. He should not be using autotune. He should be like singing this weird ass falsetto that is really good. I want to stick with that. I'm on the Baby J train if he removes all autotune from his mixes. But yeah, but just the concept of like Baby J doing that shit and people actually fuck with it, or just the shit Trippie Redd does and people fuck with it. It makes hip hop like more fun to make, because now you can do some more wild shit. You can do some different type of shit, and people aren't like, oh, that's whack. Oh, you know, because and it's like you gotta thank, you know, these guys who do this stuff, because now it's like, you know, you don't go as far as them, but you can, you know, like if they go 100, you can go like 75. And, you know, back in like, you know, 2002, it would have been super extra. But now it's like, it's okay, because these guys, they advanced it so far and they pushed it so far. You know, like think about Wale. Like, or just in fashion, Like when I was like 7, I thought like rainbow shoes were cool, or like shit with rainbows on them. Like I thought that shit was cool. Like I wasn't like gay. It wasn't a pride, you know. But it's like I thought that looked cool. And I remember Wale talking before in one of his songs. He said something to the effect of you know, he liked the rainbow shoes and like he liked wearing like crazy flashy looking shit. And keep in mind, this is before Soulja Boy. This is before like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, people will call him. You know, people are like, "Oh, you're fucking gay," you know, all this shit. And it's like now, you know, guys like that. Now people can wear like cooler shit now because of what, you know, Wale did, because of what Soulja Boy did, because of what Lil B did, because of what Kodak Black did. You know, like Kodak Black is like one of the hardest fucking people like in hip hop right now. And this guy will just have outfits where he looks like a Hawaiian drink, like, and that's like that's cool. Like that's all. Like he'll have this like bright orange polo shirt and these turquoise like shorts on, and he'll go out and enjoy himself and, you know, drink his orange soda and watch Nickelodeon and other orange things, and you know, but that's ill. Like I'm into that.
So do you think with that, like, because all those people, yeah, they're paving a way, but do you think that like gives way for biters and like all these like SoundCloud kids that just think, oh, well, they're doing this, it's pretty formulaic, I can do it in my...
I mean, well, first off, well, no, you can't really, as someone who's been ripped off before, you can't really replicate the original very well. Like I'm trying to think, like, you know, what was that? Wasn't there a guy called 22 Savage, and then there was a guy called 23 Savage?
Yeah.
Like I haven't heard from those guys in a couple of years. Like it doesn't last. Like it's not, you know, like yeah, they come in and shit, but it's like it doesn't really work. Like I haven't seen a guy copy Kodak Black, and someone would like be like, oh, Glock 9 copies Kodak Black, but I'm like, Glock 9 comes from like the exact same city or like the exact same county that Kodak Black comes from. So it's like guys just act like that over there. He's not ripping anyone off. You know, it's weird. Let's see. Nah, I mean, but again, SoundCloud, like everybody who doesn't start on SoundCloud nowadays. That's what you got to think about.
True. But I mean, like there's also the people with the dyed hair and like the weird colored eyes, and then like they do
like
weird
6ix9ine
on Twitter. Wait, what?
Like 6ix9ine, or what are you talking about?
More like with trippy red copycats. Like I'd say Lil Nar does like all the weird on Twitter too. You know who Lil Nar is?
No. Oh wait. Okay, I saw a thumbnail where he was on Vlad TV, but I never clicked it. But yeah, I've seen his picture before, but I've never actually heard his music.
Yeah, it's just like it's like people like him who kind of like come out and like have the dyed hair, weird tattoos, face tattoos, whatever, and then like do weird on Twitter, like punching a TV with taser gloves.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
That's weird. I mean, everybody has antics, but I mean, some people with antics actually, you know, are actually really good. You know, like what's it called? Like do you guys follow battle rap?
Not as heavily as I used to.
Well, yeah. So there's that guy. There's a guy, Daylight. You know, everybody gives him shit for like doing antics and all this stuff. He's probably like one of the 5 best guys in battle rap. Like, this guy is fucking insane. Like, he knows how to rhyme. He can make a million punchlines. He does this incredible thing where, and again, people say he's like, oh, he's the antics fuckhead whatever guy. But it's like this guy does this thing in like every battle where he'll go for like 8 or 16 straight bars where he ends every single bar with the exact same double multi, and it'll be a different punchline in each bar every single time, all lining with the double multi at the end rhyme. Like, that's incredible. Like, and it's like, you know, he came up with that shit, I think. I don't know, but it's just, whether he came up with it or not, like, the ability to just do that. And it's like, and he does antics, and he'll like show up on stage like in, you know, a slave costume, or he'll show up on stage as Santa Claus, or like just all this fucking dumb shit. But it's like these guys are businessmen. These guys have to be businessmen because unlike the year 2000, the label doesn't do as much for you now. The label isn't gonna, pump your fucking face into every TV. It's not gonna do that anymore. Now you have to come up with a way to do your own shit. So like Kanye West, he'll be like, yeah, I'm friends with Donald Trump, even though everybody already knew that, but people for some reason get mad at it again. But it's like, I don't know, these guys know what they're doing. Fucking or no, this wasn't an antic, but even Eminem did that. The one thing I've noticed that no one ever called out Eminem for is he suddenly makes a Donald Trump diss cipher right when he has an album coming out. No one's called that out for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it was just probably like no one called him out on it because like they probably didn't realize it was a marketing tool. They were like, oh man, yeah, Eminem's right. We all hate Trump. So it was like probably more of a like, okay, we're all gonna go jump on M, and then he's just like, hey, surprise, here's an album, guys.
Wait, oh, I thought he already. Oh, whatever. But it's weird because it's like Eminem. He's very clear. Well, first off, it's like, wow, a celebrity doesn't like Donald Trump. Oh my God, I'm so shocked. Like it's like he's not saying anything new. Here's what's fucked up is that Eminem did fuck Donald Trump and he's applauded for it. He didn't say, what did he say that was new? He said nothing that was new. But then you have Kanye West, who's being friendly with Trump, wearing the Make America Great Again hat, drawing all this attention. What Kanye did that's like actually changing the fucking country is one of his things was he said, and he meant to say amend, but he fucked up and said abolish. He said abolish the 13th Amendment, right? Which is the amendment that, what's it called? That's the amendment that gets rid of slavery, right?
Yeah.
But what a lot of people didn't realize, and like I knew it beforehand, but I knew that no one knew the fucking loophole in the first sentence of that amendment is that it abolishes slavery unless it's a punishment for crime.
Yeah, there's a whole doc about it on Netflix called The 13th.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's not even that hard to find. It's just go on Wikipedia and read the first sentence. Just the first sentence, that's it. But so many people didn't even know that. There's so many people who didn't know that until Kanye made this whole, thing about it. And Kanye is demonized, like he's always been for the last, fucking 15 years. And, but it's like, like regardless of whether he wears a MAGA hat or whatever, he put something out into the mainstream that really needed to be known, that really needed to be acknowledged, that slavery is still legal in America. And so, it's, but again, like politics are like fashion. Like nobody actually like reads into this shit. They're just like, oh, well, everyone else like, doesn't, and I'm not saying that Donald Trump is a good president. Donald Trump's like a fucking idiot, but like, he's about as evil as like any other white 55-year-old in the world. He's like 70. Yeah, he's about as evil as any other white 70-year-old. Like, but but no, it's that's just how it ends up crumbling along. There might come a time where if I say fuck Trump, it's really profitable. I'd probably do it too. Trying to get on, I'll get on SNL and do it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, did you see like when Kanye tried to say something along the lines of like let's be friends with Trump on SNL and they cut off that part? Like they cut him out during his SNL performance. Like,
was he saying it while he was in the bottle costume?
No.
That would have been good as shit if he did it while he was in the bottle costume. If SNL cut that off, I would have. That is officially a racist show if they did that. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but like he was saying, like, oh yeah, we should be cool with Trump. Like we should try to be friendly and love each other and blah blah blah. This like great speech, and like they cut him off. Like I think in like way before that even happened. To the point where like people were just like, I think Kim was getting it on Instagram, and that's where we saw it. And like all the cast members look so uncomfortable. Like they're all just kind of like turning away and just like, oh, this guy's crazy. I'm like, bro, stop being a. You're not gonna lose your job if you just like at least look at him,
Yeah, I don't. It's like, but it's like also like people weren't acknowledging the fact that what's it called? I don't know. I mean, Kanye, he felt that he just wanted to bridge the gap. Like that's how he felt, and he wasn't worried about the standards of politics that were around him. He just wanted to do it. But I don't know. He's a guy who he's always been well intentioned. He's always wanted his community to prosper. Except he's just had issues where he didn't know the right place at the right time. So it's just. You know, that's what it is. It is what it is.
So do you think if Kanye, like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to say, like, if he learned how to not speak, but learned how to like maneuver and position himself in the right situations, like that he would actually be seen as like, okay, yeah, Kanye, you are Yeezus, rather than like, yo, Kanye, shut the fuck up. No one wants to hear from you right now. You fucking Uncle Tom, like.
Well, I mean, let's see. I don't know. The thing is, before Kanye was doing I'm gonna fuck with the right for a little bit and all this stuff. I mean, before he was doing that, he was still demonized, but like it was by liberals. But once he like started siding with Trump, now people felt like they were righteous for hating Kanye. But the whole time, they were hating Kanye. They were just doing it under their breath. You know, all these memes about how Kanye is narcissistic, all these memes about whatever. And, you know, just all these headlines that would get blown way out of proportion. You know, like you got to think about like, and it like the George Bush doesn't care about black people thing, that, you know, that was like the first step to like America being fuck Kanye. But then, what was like sort of the nail in the coffin for anyone like listening to what he had to say or what he was doing or whatever was when he did the Taylor Swift stunt.
Yeah.
Where he went up on stage. And it's like, you know, when you actually look at the backstory of all of that, it's not, I mean, given who he is, I mean, it's not outrageous that he did that. Because he really likes Beyonce and everyone else in the Jay-Z camp or family or whatever. And, you know, he felt like, you know, he wanted to make Beyonce, you know, not feel as bad about losing that award to Taylor Swift. But, you know, it ended up being some nonsense shit. And, you know, he turned into the villain. He turned into the guy who was trying to, you know, hurt the little white girl. And, it's amazing how much of the Kanye hate has been racially charged and no one wants to admit it. But that's just how it is, man. But now the the Chris Evans shit, that was funny as fuck. When because it was like a guy like Chris Evans, like you know, he has like so much hate for a guy like Kanye West.
Oh, you're talking about the tweet where he was like, basically Kanye is an illiterate.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you don't even fucking read books. I'm like, it's fucking 2018. Does a guy really need to read books to be educated? No. You know, like, I've read, I've taught, you know, I've taught, like, short courses on, like, how to write jokes or screenwriting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And every now and then I'll have people ask, like, oh, like, do you read a lot? And I'll tell them, I've read 3 chapter books in my life. You know, like, but, you know, not to say that I don't read, you know, I've read a million things. I've watched a million speakings. I've watched tons of shit, but it's just like, it's just how you get information. But again, like, read books is like the easy thing to be like, oh, he doesn't read books, fuck him, all this stuff. But it you know, this is what I don't know, the Chris Evans, Jesus, like his best movie was not another teen movie. I don't know why he's like on this fucking like.
That is true.
Oh, yeah, I don't like any of the fucking Marvel movies he was in, but not another teen movie. That was a fucking insanely good movie, and that's 2000 on everything material right there. But no, anyway, but no, it's like Kanye West. I don't know. With Chris Evans going in on him, it shows you everybody was waiting to say that to him. Everyone was waiting to say that to Kanye, and they were looking for the perfect excuse. And him being friendly with Trump was their excuse, was their justification. But they wanted to do it long before then, believe me.
Back to the like you brought up an interesting point that you don't really need to read to like be what was it? Educated or informed or anything like that?
Educated, informed, creative, whatever.
Yeah. So like we drank the college university Kool-Aid. So like I was brought up under like, yeah, you need to read books to like gain knowledge and whatever. But like it's interesting to hear a different perspective on that. So like how do you go about getting information or like knowing the shit that you know?
Well, again, like my main I mean, my main income right now is the technical side of, you know, of video audio production, you know, so like knowing about cameras, knowing about microphones, all that. And everything I learned for my trade, I learned from talking to people who were far more experienced than me. Because the reality is, you know, like, again, I would much rather have contact with people who have lived it than to just read words on a page. I'd much rather have that. Now there's certain I mean there's certain times where, you know, you have to read like we're specifically talking about books. Never mind. Okay. But yeah, so I would just talk with people who had done it. And the reality is that I thought like, so from my perspective, I keep asking questions and I keep wanting to know things. And I'm like, why doesn't everybody do this? It's so easy. And then it hit me, and the majority, and when I started teaching short courses and the stuff that I knew, it hit me that most people don't have that ability to just, you know, articulate what they need to know or what they want to know. A lot of people can't just see and then ask and ask and ask and then figure it out. A lot of people can't do that. So it's, which is interesting. Or maybe people are just, there's also this, and I've noticed this too, is that a lot of people, when they're learning something, they don't want to admit that they don't know anything, and that's going to fuck you over in life. Straight up, that's going to screw you over. And, you know, I mean, what university you guys go to? Oh yeah, isn't that where Johnny Manziel, like, did drugs at, or...
I don't know.
You go to Texas A&M and you don't know who Johnny Manziel is?
I mean, I know who he is. I just don't know much about him.
Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's out of the league. Don't worry about it. You know, no, but it's, you know, I didn't go to college. You know, I didn't go to any university to learn. I didn't even go to a trade school. And I remember, you know, multiple family members kept telling me, "Oh, you need to go to college. You must go to college. It's the only real way to, you know." Oh, I talked to a producer in video, and they said, if you want to be a filmmaker, what you have to do is you need to, what is it? You know, you have to have the full 4 years to have the experience. And it's like, I understood why they were saying that. They were saying that because, you know, a lot of people who are 18 or 19, they haven't discovered a lot of shit. They haven't, you know, they're not really well-rounded. But the reality is you can get well-rounded without giving someone $100,000. You know, the internet's free. Or, I mean, it's $60 a month, but the internet's free. And so, you know, dude, I've looked at so much crazy... You want to know the inspiration for, or like the main inspiration for why I'm like trying to make these fucking religions?
Okay.
Or this religion is because... I got into the conscious community part of YouTube. You ever watch those videos?
No.
Like Sonnetter TV, Brother Polite, guys like that?
No.
Oh, man. Mikey, I thought you were conscious. What the heck? Okay, anyway. So, but no, you know, essentially they're the Pan-African guys. And like Israelites, you know, stuff like that. Or Nation of Islam, you know, stuff like that, where it's like, you know, it's pretty much... you know, guys adopting their own code, and they're not taking the A selection on the multiple choice of life. They take, you know, B, C, or D. They're not just taking the first answer that's brought to them. And the way these guys deconstruct all the, you know, all the religion we've seen is that you come to the understanding that everything we see, it was just made up by other people, except it was a really long time ago. You know, nothing that those people made can hold bars on us now. You know, we have to evolve, and we have to adapt, and we have to write our own chapter. You know, like now that we have in the age of information, we have the ability to do this now. And so, So, you know, and it's, you know, it's this great, you know, it's this great community of self-actualization and all that. And, you know, I did what all white people do, and I took it and made it a fucking joke. And I made it about Christina Aguilera because I'm a devil. But, you know, whatever the hell. Well, Mikey, is that it? What are we doing here?
I mean, yeah, that can wrap it up, I guess. I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. This was cool.
Thanks for having me. Maybe we can talk some more stuff when the new tape comes out next month.
All right, bet.
All right, yeah, it'll be a lot more normal than the last shit. Real rap.
All that fast flow mean nothing, but while I got you here, let me just say something.
Everybody come and follow me
right now.